I don't really want to have to use my phone much because it's almost dead-yo.
Oh no!
I have brought back the fat facts for this episode because I realised I've not done fat facts for actually quite a while.
No, yeah.
But I made it my mission today. I'm going to find some Metroid Prime facts.
Oh, we do Metroid Prime.
Yeah, man.
Oh shit, we do Metroid Prime.
We do Metroid Prime, bro.
We're on a list of 10 fucking...
Oh no, franchises next week, bro. Franchises next week. Mate,
I'm not gonna lie. I'm not gonna lie. I struggle to get 10. If I'm being honest, like.
Well, just naming 10 franchises.
That's another. Yeah, but that's for another discussion.
Okay, another discussion.
Yeah.
What's happening, troops? Welcome back to your weekly dose of nostalgic goodness. I am Liam, joined as always by bestest bud in all the world, Nick.
We are live. Don't flick your bean.
Oh, I like beans though. We are broadcasting live. Oh, the bakiest. We are broadcasting live on Twitch here at twitch.tv/RetroGakAttack. This is where you can catch the raw, uncut versions of RGA before it gets a lovely edit and it makes its way into our YouTube channel. YouTube.com/@RetroGakAttack. Don't forget that @ symbol.
Need that at.
RGA is also available in audio form on all major podcasting platforms. Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, etc, etc. Although apparently Google Podcasts is finishing this year. So I've got to alter that.
Is it?
Yeah, apparently. All available through our Buzzsprout page as well. rga.buzzsprout.com. Find the best podcasting platform that suits you best. Best not be Google Podcasts. What are we talking about today, Nicholas?
A game that you have been playing recently that I've been telling you to play for absolute yonks. I know. It's great when this happens.
I played a game from start to finish. Yay.
Oh, hey, that's it. That is it. Well, do you know what? My job's done. That just, mic drop. Oh, podcast over.
You did it, bro.
I'm away.
It massively helps when it's on the Switch, and you can just sort of but
yeah.
It took me like all of December to blast through it.
It's a good 40-hour game.
Yeah, I didn't actually check how long. You get all I didn't pay attention to all the details at the end when I finished it, but to see how long it took me. But I did.
For those that aren't in thinking, Metroid Prime we are talking about.
Metroid Prime.
Metroid Prime.
Thankfully the remastered version, because it's a lot easier to play that than getting a GameCube.
100%. Even with a GameCube, it's 100% better playing.
Yeah, which we will get into for for reasons. When did Metroid Prime come out? Was it 2002?
Oh, that's around about then, I think.
I've got a feeling it's 2002.
Let me have a goosey gander.
I mean, I've been doing all the googs, getting all the fat facts and that, but I never actually looked at what year it came out. Because I'm professional.
November 2002.
I think it was announced in 2000, or like the first 10. They released a 10-second trailer.
I remember the trailer from E3 and that.
Yeah, I think it was 2000, if not 2001. Yeah, I enjoyed it. We'll start off by saying I enjoyed it.
You start off on a high.
Shock horror, because it is like a critically acclaimed, awesome game, isn't it? So
yes. I mean, you're talking like IGN was like 9.8 out of 10 when it came out. And pretty much across the board with all the reviews, it was pretty much that high.
And I think it speaks highly of the game still. You're talking 20. It came out last year, the remastered, and it's 21 years later, and it's still, the remaster got massive reviews as well. It was
just as high second time round.
Yeah, as flawless as the original game. And that speaks very highly of it, because I'm almost a bit surprised that it got such good reviews in this day and age, because I think people are expecting a Call of Duty sort of, what else is it, Apex Legends, Battlefield. I think that's what the people expect when you get a first-person shooter game. But this isn't actually like a first-person shooter, is it?
No.
This is like a first-person adventure as opposed to a shooter.
Yeah.
Because it feels so different to
I mean,
any other
it's the
game.
first person Metroidvania, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's just we'll call a spade a spade. It is literally a first person Metroidvania game.
You know, it's not the world's biggest map. It's like I was still expecting the map to be bigger. You know, you got your 5 different worlds. Is it 5?
Mm-hmm.
5 or 6?
Areas,
4?
yeah.
Areas.
Yeah.
They're quite complex. Like some of them quite
That's
vertical.
what makes up for it.
The mines are quite vertical, and some of them are, you know, quite measy. So it is a bit difficult to navigate. If you didn't have the map, woofed. But I still thought it was going to be bigger in my head. I thought the map was going to be bigger. Not that that's a knock on it, but
no. But I think, like you say, because of the complexity of it being a 3D sort of like adventure, puzzly finding, you know, that sort of game. It's quite complex to actually sort of like plan out and make areas that are going to keep you interested and invested in. So I mean, yeah, it could have been slightly. Sorry,
Intruder alert.
Steph should have been like. Bless it. But until I lost my train of thought.
Completely.
Yeah, no, that's it. That's what happens when your wife's face just pops up. Oh, fuck, she's still there.
This is where you've got to show your professionalism now and just not break.
Just straight. I can't. No, because she'd still be there. Just waiting until a break. So I'll just get it opened up with. But no, I think they did an awesome job in like creating a world that you can be immersed in. And you travel around, and for example, you go past a waterfall and water will spray
across the visor,
on your visor. Yeah, if you look up at the rain, you know, on the GameCube version, you see that the raindrops just dropping on the. But with the Switch, they went that a bit further.
Yeah.
And if you look up, the rain actually hits it and then slides down the side. So they've added extra in, just like tiny little minute details.
The level of detail for a lot of it, even the GameCube version. You know, my lack of knowledge on the GameCube version, but I know there's little bits. There's one or two that I'm going to bring up in the facts later on. But like for a game in 2002. There was a lot of little things that they don't need to add into the game that they still felt the need to just add into it because they could.
Yeah.
And in all fairness,
something that we've always said though is that those little things is like what immerses you in the game.
Yeah, and just going off topic slightly, just because what else I've been playing this month. The most like immersive game I've ever played is Red Dead Redemption 2. And a lot of that is...
I've got it now.
Yeah, get on it, bro.
I need to find time to play
it. It's absolutely phenomenal. And it is just that there's so many little... They are pointless details, but they still added them in, and it still makes a difference in your experience. That's what makes
the difference.
Yeah, so it's like they don't need to do it, but they did it, and it's nice that they did it. And it was like more apparent because I've played the Red Dead 1 remaster. I was flitting between that and Metroid Prime all December, and like I realized just how amazing Red Dead 2 is because I've played Red Dead 1. Not that it's a knock on Red Dead 1 because I love Red Dead 1, but like it did the entire time it sort of made me want to play Red Dead 2 again because it's like it's the horses control better in this that and the other. But we're not going into Red Dead, but like just because of those little details, Metroid Prime does it as well. To be fair.
Yeah,
and you obviously know more than me, having played the GameCube one. And
I played the GameCube one 20 years ago, so I mean, it's
in
there. It's in there somewhere.
Did you play the Wii version?
I had a crack on the Wii version.
Yeah, I was to say I just had a bit of a play.
I didn't play a lot. Yeah, I had a quick go, but I never actually sort of like. I didn't have that itch when it came out on the Wii.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? The same sort of itch. When they released the trailer for the remaster, I was like, right, I'm ready.
Yeah,
Joe, I'm ready to go back and I want to play it.
Yeah, well, the thing is with the Wii, it's the gimmick, isn't it? It's good that you can play the way you play, where you're aiming at the screen, and immersive controls and all that.
Yeah.
But the thought of Metroid Prime with modern day regular shooter controls it's just far more appealing.
It's the same. It was the same with GoldenEye. Do you know what I mean? Like they did it with GoldenEye. They've done it with this. Like this is the pinnacle of like first person sort of like shooter controls. And if they could go back and make a plethora of older games,
well, that's the thing. Yeah, there's so many games.
Controls. Oh, it'd be unreal if they actually had them.
That's why I'm begging for a Soul Reaver remake because it's 1999 or 2000 3D adventure controls, PS1 no analog stick, cameras are controlled with the two back buttons, and it was it's rough to play, but I love it so much, and I just want to be able to. Doesn't need like a full remake remaster thing. Just give me the controls.
Just a controller
controls
update.
And at least like 30 frames a second minimum, because it's clunky. But like it's wishful thinking and all that. I'm just gonna hit you with the I can do it now.
We got a button. Go on.
First time 2024. Oh, I pressed it too much. Oh, I need to figure out a way to make it still.
You just need to like animate it and just have it as like one little
it's
video.
too much faff. I barely get the chance to do anything these days. You're lucky I've got the brand new logo and stuff. But yeah, my my phone battery is on the verge of death. So I'm gonna get myself through these.
I guess you can.
Fat facts. Right.
Fat facts.
Oh, I've got to scroll through all my notes from the very beginning. There we go. Right. Metroid Prime. I found it very difficult to find facts because I'd normally just go through. There'd be certain websites that would just have little bullet points and like, this is a fact. Yeah. There was none of that for Metroid Prime. None of it.
I'm quite surprised.
Yeah, I know. So was I. Because like I found there was a YouTube video that I watched, and it was just like these are facts I bet you didn't know about Metroid Prime. So I just watched through it and I made notes. So like, this could be a bit messy, but you get the point. I might be wrong with some of them. I might have incorrectly jotted things down, heard things wrong. Who cares? It's all part of the fun. Fat facts.
Retro gag.
Yeah, baby. Okay.
Don't do anything professional.
Did you know that the Nintendo 64 version of the game was scrapped? It was apparently supposed to come out on Nintendo 64. 2 reasons, apparently. It's one or the other. The fella didn't know which was the real reason. So,
all right, okay.
You guys decide. Let the community decide.
Yeah.
It was either that the team had no ideas for the game, so like they wanted to release it, but they didn't have like any solid, concrete either story ideas or like.
Yeah.
Back then they were probably still thinking of it as a 2D side-scroller thing, but they didn't quite know what to do. Or because of the controls. The funky N64 controller. Which would surprise me, because back then that was the innovative thing, wasn't it? So
they were transitioning into 3D. I think it's that they couldn't figure out the transition.
If they wanted
into 3D,
if they were desperate for the 3D game, maybe they tried a couple of things and they just couldn't quite get it to work. If that's the case, I'm glad they did that. I hope that they tried things, realised it wasn't quite ready, and didn't do it.
Yeah.
Because what you could have got was an absolute bum Metroid game.
And that would be the end of the franchise.
Yeah, and you probably then wouldn't have got Prime, Fusion, Dread.
Yeah.
Samus was supposed to talk. Not a massive fact, but
I've heard that. Yeah.
What this fella said was she was supposed to just narrate the game. So there's a narration at the start. I don't remember, but narrating the story. It was supposed to be Samus, and her original narration, the actual voice, can be found on the GameCube disc. The file is on there.
I think the file is there. Yeah,
and it actually sounded really good. Like it was a nice tone to a voice, like quite a I want to say a gruff tone, but like like a veteran sort of.
Yes,
she's seen some shit, so she's got one of them voices. And it just is a shame it didn't.
A badass, because that's essentially what she is. She's the badass. That's
the modern day Sigourney.
Yes.
Retro Studios didn't have a good track record until Prime. They had a lot of like bum games, cancelled games. They had a rough record.
Mm-hmm.
I don't actually have a list or anything, but
I remember when they said it was Retro Studio, and everyone's like, "Why? Why are they giving them Jerry?" And I remember the internet, like all the IGN boards were going crazy, like, "Oh my god, this game's gonna suck," and all this because the retro are crap. And to be fair, I mean, from Metroid Prime onwards,
they pretty much release banger after banger.
They've nailed most of the Nintendo stuff they've been given. So
so credit where it's due. The black suit, is it the Phazon suit? Is that what it's called? The black one?
It's the Phazon. The Phazon.
The Phazon suit was almost going to be turquoise. Pretty turquoise.
Cool. Oh, it's fine.
But it didn't look evil enough. They wanted Samus to look a bit evil when.
I mean, the black and red is as evil as you get. So,
it's pretty cool as well.
That's cool. Isn't it?
First thing I sent to you when I got that suit was, "Whoa, black suit is cool as fuck."
You know, I always think about the shoulder pads though. They look like fucking tires.
Yeah, they do look a bit naff. The shoulder pads look a bit naff in the black, but as a suit, the suit as a whole, it looks smart.
The aesthetic is cool. Yeah.
This is the one where I was talking about level of detail and stuff like that. The hand gesture icons.
Oh, for your different weapons.
For switching the weapons are the gestures that Samus must perform in order to swap between weapons.
Actually, in the actual blaster arm, she would change the weapons, and
it's actually visible with the X-ray visor.
Yeah. Is that visible on the Switch one? I never actually paid any attention to the Switch one.
I noticed on the Switch one that you could see her arm, but I never actually noticed any different gestures.
Yeah, see when you're flipping between the different ones.
I didn't notice any gestures, but like
because it's literally the symbols are just the fingers on the GameCube. I remember it perfectly. The symbols are just the actual hand and the positions of the hand, and it's like orange, purple, red, and I can't remember the last white. For the different color ones, and they've got the hand share.
Yeah, because that's the thing when I was playing it, because I played 90% of this game on handheld, where things are smaller anyway, so I didn't properly notice that.
Yeah.
It was so much better on the big telly as well when you dock the Switch and you're playing the big. It was so much better. But like, I didn't get a chance.
I really wish that it was like that. The Switch was 4K.
I know.
Because could you imagine the world?
Is the 4K? OLED one not 4K?
No,
it's not quite 4K.
It's not powerful enough.
See, that's the one thing that Nintendo need to do is to at least try
the Switch 2 apparently is supposed to be beefy enough that it'll do 4K docked. But 1080 when it's out.
It's only going to be as powerful as like a PS4 though, isn't that? That's the thing. It's just
but I mean, look, we've been through this discussion. Like, look how well the Switch has done.
They
PS4,
don't need to.
And they're only 20 million consoles away from outselling the PS2. So
that's mad.
Do you know what I mean?
Mad.
Yeah. You know, and they're not. Because I was reading this like today. It's like someone saying like they're not going to release all the details for Switch 2 because they've got one more Christmas, potentially two more Christmases before they drop it. And I think if they're gonna be smart, they're gonna wait until like next year, because then that way they've got at least the two Christmases to get a Switch and outsell the PS2, because that's what they want to do. They want to be the best selling console of all time.
Do you think it's going to be Switch 2 or is it going to be? I'd be surprised if
it'll be switched. It'll be a Switch 2.
You reckon?
They'll want a docked console and a portable console. It'll be both.
I really like the Switch. I think the Switch is a top tier, in all fairness, console.
Yes.
This is one you definitely knew. I didn't know, but I think it's cool. Metroid Fusion Suit is unlockable if you beat both games and then link the Game Boy Advance with Metroid Prime, and it looked really cool.
And I did it, and it's awesome. It looks cool. I think the Metroid. I was like saying to you the other day that I think the Metroid Fusion Suit's the fucking best suit.
It is smart. It's smart. I can't quite get over like how it looks a bit goopy, but I love.
That's because of the parasite, isn't it? That's
but I love the yellow and blue combo.
Venom symbiote sort of thing.
Yeah, it is smart though. I think it works on the Game Boy Advance as well because
the colours are so vibrant.
And it's a bit more cartoony, you know, because Prime's quite realistic looking, isn't it? So. Yeah. It definitely looks better on the Game Boy Advance. Kraid was supposed to be in the game. but was scrapped due to time constraints.
It'd be too big. It'd be too big to put in.
It would have been cool though.
It would have been cool, but could you imagine the fucking fight? Like,
I know.
Maybe it'd be somewhere like the Parasite Queen at the beginning, like a big cylindrical room. That's probably the only place you're going to be able to have him, and him sitting in the middle.
Yeah, but he'd have to be about 10 times the size of that Parasite Queen.
Yeah, and also you've got to consider as well as the fact that, like, what are you going to do for the actual fight with him as well? Because all he really does is shoot the spikes from his stomach, and he's wiping his claws.
Yeah.
There's not much else. He's too big to fucking. You're not gonna have him walking around anywhere, are you? So it's, yeah.
Yeah, I enjoyed the fight in Dread though. It was a good fight in Dread. Kraid's in that, isn't he? I think big blubbery thing. That was good. Prime can only load 2 rooms at a time because of GameCube. But they mask it well enough. That's all you need.
Easy
the game
enough,
only needs to load 2 rooms to be able to transition. And then it
the
focuses
room
on the one.
your room you've come from, the room you're going in, and then the room you're in, and the room you're going to, unless you turn around and go the other way.
Yeah, and then the point that the fella made was like, if you shoot one door open and then go and shoot another one, that other door will close. It'll load the other room and then it'll open up. So it's a really clever way of masking loading screens, to be fair.
Yeah, and between shooting Starfield can take some
Jesus, don't go there.
But it's really good that you shoot the door and it's like literally like 1 or 2 seconds.
Yeah.
And it's like that it registers it and then that's it. It's so quick.
And especially on the Switch, I can't really comment on the GameCube one, but the Switch one, the remaster, it's more or less instantaneous. You shoot the door, it's open.
Yeah.
But then the Switch version can probably load up more than 2 rooms potentially. Not that it needs to, but
you don't need it to. That's the thing. Yeah. You're not going to jump up through a room because the game won't allow you.
Yeah. I like this one. Super Metroid was supposed to be an unlockable game after completing Prime, but because the developer was using a third-party SNES emulator, Nintendo scrapped it. Instead, they included the original NES Metroid. I think it's if you finish the game. Yeah, after completing the game.
Do you know what? I don't remember if I ever actually played it.
That would have probably, if I'd have had it on the GameCube, which I didn't. I pretty much just had Resident Evil, FIFA, and something else when I had The Sims when I had the GameCube. Sims is actually good on the GameCube.
It was actually pretty good.
But if I had Prime, I probably would have actually given original NES Metroid a go.
So fucking hard.
Yeah, I know, but I'd still, I know.
Give it a bash, yeah.
What would I have been? 2002, 11-year-old me would have given it a go, because I loved old schooly stuff like that.
No, I know. Thing is,
Super Metroid would have been better though.
Yeah, true. But like Animal Crossing had like all the NES games in them as well. Yeah. So you could actually like find the games, and you could play. It's like Balloon Fighter, Mario.
Probably took up no space.
It took nothing. Yeah, and you could literally just have it all. I remember one of my house was literally just all the fucking consoles on the floor. I could play any NES game I wanted. So yeah, I mean, I'm surprised. I suppose. Well, I wonder if Nintendo didn't actually give them, because I mean, Animal Crossing was made by Nintendo. So I mean, I'm surprised that they didn't give them the emulator or anything.
Yeah,
like
I found that a bit
odd.
odd.
It's strange, but
this, I'm literally just going by what this Metroid fan had made the
Metroid fan 69X.
Pretty much, yeah. He was buzzing about Metroid, but yeah, I think it's a shame that Super Metroid, and it's a bit of a shame as well that none of these things have made it onto the remaster either. You pretty much finish the game and you unlock hard mode, and then that's it. To my knowledge, you don't get no Metroid Fusion Suit, which I know was. It made sense at the time because they both came out.
Yeah, they both
more
came
or
out
less at the same time.
Yeah.
So that made sense for GameCube Prime to have it.
So I remember reading an article about it actually, that people were mad that there was no Fusion Suit, and I'm like,
the thing is,
you don't need a Fusion Suit though. You don't need it.
You don't need it, but in this day and age, they could easily have given you 5 or 6 as a bit of extra content. Just a lot of games as well. Like they love delving into the old school retro thing, and they could have given you Pixel bloody Samus or something. Resident Evil 2 remake does it.
Does
Just
it? Oh,
yeah,
God.
it gives you not pixel, but PS1 render, bloody
PS1,
Leon
yeah.
and Claire. And it's
Well, the
just
thing
little
is,
things like that. People love getting new suits to
yeah.
mess with. It encourages them to play the game again.
I mean, the only time that you actually ever see them is like the cutscene when you start the game, when you save, and when you turn into the morph ball. So you'd be putting all that extra work in
Yeah,
for
yeah,
like frames worth of
yeah. And
and stuff. So
and the thing is, as you progress through the game, you get different suits. You get the Varia
yeah,
suit, and you get
yeah, you get your different colored versions of your suit. So
So
again, yeah,
does defeat the
they'd have to
purpose
do
of it
five
slightly.
different versions of it. Yeah.
Yeah. But it's a lick of paint at the end of the day. It's make Samus look pretty and keeps players happy.
Mate,
Could also
she's a babe. She doesn't need to look pretty.
fairs. She is a legend. Or they could have gone the route of PS1 Spider-Man of different suits give you sort of
That would have been
different abilities sort of
yeah.
thing. You
like
get
a new game plus mode and different.
Yeah.
That would have been alright. Yeah.
One suit gives you instant 150 missiles or something that you always have.
Yeah. She could have the Zero suit where she's like not actually in the suit and it's her in the blue.
Yeah, that would be
armor
cool.
thing.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
And she's got the taser pistol and the whip or whatever. That would have been yeah.
Yeah, but they didn't. They didn't. They kept it quite simple. You get the game and that's it.
It was just a remaster through and through. That's it.
Yeah.
Bish bash bosh done.
And one final fact: it was originally intended to be a third-person shooter, but the idea was scrapped after Shigeru Miyamoto played Jet Force Gemini and realized a first-person game would work better at that time.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think a third-person one would. They'd have still made it work.
I think the game wouldn't be big enough. Like it's not big enough to be third person. If you get what I mean.
Yeah,
like
because
if you're
when
in
you're
a third person, when it's
in
first person, like that, you feel that the area is massive. Whereas if you're in the third person, and your camera's out a wee bit, all of a sudden your area around you isn't as actually as big as it seems.
Well, yeah, because you notice that when you do the morph ball as well, because it naturally goes into. Imagine doing that first person.
I know.
Jesus, sod that. Thank God that was third person.
Oh my God, that was the best noise you've ever made.
Was it? I come out with loads of weird noises.
I know. That's great.
That's all she hears in the suit, though.
Is that our brain spinning around in her head? She's going 40 mile an hour in a morph ball.
That's my little pea-sized brain in here, and it's hitting all the like a pinball. Yeah. Right. So,
yeah.
What are your earliest memories then of young Nick?
Oh man, I got this day one.
I can imagine.
I got this day one. I was fucking absolutely buzzing for this. And yeah, I mean, it's just. It pretty much does what it says on the tin, isn't it? You know what I mean? It's a first-person Metroid game, and everything's big and colourful, and you are totally immersed in this world. Starting the game in that space station, teaches you the basics, and it's a fairly simple game. On the GameCube, the controls-wise, it was a bit harder. Because you didn't have that ability to with the newer version, with the updated controls.
Dual analog.
You're dual analog. Whereas with the GameCube, you're walking forward and backwards.
GoldenEye controls, wasn't it? It was GoldenEye controls, but on a GameCube pad.
Yes.
I remember that because you do all the movement with the analog, so it's it's tank controls.
Yes, and then you had to press. If I remember, was it L or R? L was lock on, so you were able to strafe. And I'm sure if you pressed R, you would turn your gun to help you turn.
I remember trying it out when I was younger. I don't know if maybe my cousin had it or something. I remember playing it, and I remember being blown away by the controls and that. Because at the time, it was it was different, and it worked at the time.
It did.
We hadn't quite perfected the control scheme for first-person shooters.
Yeah,
but,
exactly.
I thought the idea of the lock-on thing was quite clever.
Yeah.
Because we were used to GoldenEye.
Took it straight from Zelda. Yeah.
Yeah, but when you're playing GoldenEye and it's you want to aim and then you get the crosshair and you got to try and it's really awkward back on the Nintendo 64. But the fact that this thing just pings you to what you want to hit and it follows.
Yeah.
It's so handy with a lot of enemies.
And it gives you the strafe ability where you all of a sudden you can now strafe around your target and you can jump, and it makes fighting a lot easier doing it that way, but not compared to now with the dual analog stick because it's so fucking easy. Miles easier.
But it's like it's not like it's bitch boy version of the game. Like, oh, they've made it too easy now. It's like it just works. It was a nice game to play. It was a nice, fun game to play because of the controls.
Yeah. And I mean, every day that 2002, I was in college. Like every day I finished, I was like, I wanted to get home, and I wanted to play this game like that. That was me. It had the claws in me from start to finish. Like, I did. I mean, going through that first part of that tutorial, it was taught you everything you need to know about the game. The whole scanning of items for lore and that. It's such that game.
There is a
huge.
lot of things you got to scan in that game.
Oh my fuck! I know. Literally every time you go. Yeah, I know, it's so hard. And the thing is there's something on that first space station that if you don't scan it, you don't get the 100%. And I remember everyone was used to like kick off about that. Like it was like, oh my god, why would they do that? And that's the fucking reason why. Do you know what I mean? And your first boss, the Parasite Queen, is
fairly simple.
It's simple, but it teaches the basics of jumping and strafing.
Get used to strafing, that was
keeping you in cover behind the orange screens to make sure that you were protected. And then in true Metroid fashion, the space station blows up, so you've got to escape.
Run away.
Yeah, I don't think it was as when we talked about Super Metroid, like it was tense.
It's not as good as Super Metroid.
It's not as good as that.
I don't think it's not bad. I just don't think it's aged as well as Super Metroid has the opening scene.
Yes.
Because I feel like when you're escaping and you're going through the tunnels, I felt like you go through about 2 or 3 tunnels too many, and it's just like 1 or 2. Just make it a quicker escape, so you can make it a bit more thingy, a bit more exciting.
It didn't feel as tense and as like in Super Metroid you are like on edge, because you are basically you feel like you're running for your life. Whereas in this, because obviously it's all planned on, like when you get to a certain position, something happens and so like you just kind of like going through the motions. Doesn't take from it, but it just didn't have that same sense of dread.
Good game.
But I mean, it was a good game. And then in typical Metroid fashion, again, you get to your space station. There's an explosion, and all of a sudden you lose all your armor PCs. And it always happens to her. Like she's supposed to be the best bounty hunter in the galaxy, and every time
just bad luck, bro.
Bad luck. She's got a lot of fucking bad luck.
I know, yeah.
And then so she loses all her parts of her armor, and then she jumps on the ship and goes to the planet. And then I remember the cutscenes of like the ship going through the atmosphere, and you can see the ship shaking, and and I just thought to myself, like this is a proper sort of like game where you've got with the cutscenes and that you just like it's like a film.
It was like
sort
a film.
Like, and then you get to the planet, and it's like, right, explore. And you just had that freedom. You could go. I mean, you can't go anywhere because there's parts of the map that are locked off until you can come back later. But you had a 3D environment to just go around and explore.
It doesn't force you down any paths. You'll get to blockages or whatever, or find something else to explore further. But it does give you that sense of, it plonks you in the overworld, and then it's off you pop, go and go and figure out what to do next. It doesn't. I think it does I don't know what it was, if it was the same on the GameCube, but I did find it very handy. The game doesn't necessarily hold your hand, but when you're exploring for a bit and like you've got nothing pinged on the map, it will sort of come up with a message saying,
distress
signal,
incoming transmission, and it pulls up the map.
It does help. For special people like me who aren't very good
Yes.
at these sort of games, I'm not patient enough,
Mm-hmm.
or I don't have the best memory to remember, you know, I needed the wave beam to open the door in this, you know, the purple door in this area. I'll remember that. I'm sure I will. I'll know exactly which room it is 60 rooms down the line. It's, you know,
Yeah.
so I'm
Because
grateful.
your maps have like coloured, like little coloured sort of like keys.
Yeah.
And if it's a purple door, it'll have the purple bit where you need, you know, and the map
Really
keeps
good
you
map.
right.
The map is
Oh.
really good. Like,
I
it's
know.
quite complex.
Yes. I always
3D.
found it really hard. Yeah, I always found it really hard when I played on the GameCube, but playing it back on the Switch is like
It was
I'm
very,
older.
it was very handy. I found it
Yes.
very handy, and it did help me out. For the coloured doors, it was like you'd pick up the ice beam or whatever it's called. So then you're looking for white doors. It's like, did I pass any white doors in this area?
And see, all of a sudden, after you've got the ice beam, your white doors are just slightly more brighter to tell you that you can go that way as well, which is a small little thing, but it's just...
One little gripe I had was the fact that you had to keep switching weapons to shoot certain doors. It got to a point when it was like, when I have all 4 of the weapons, just let me shoot the door with any weapon, because I can open them all now.
Yeah,
it was just...
but the same with Metroid though, when you can only open doors with super bombs.
Yeah.
It's the same.
I found it easy because it's
missiles.
You hold the button, shoot it with a missile, and the door opens, sort of thing. One of the first things you said to me was the weapon switching is a bit clunky. I got that immediately
on the Switch.
Yeah. Because
you on the GameCube, it was the C stick,
which makes a lot of sense. Yeah,
you could just flip the stick straight into the
because
purple
it was
one, and
hold. Triangle to me, it's PlayStation controls. Hold triangle, and then you press the thing. But the thing was on the left side where you're trying to move her, so you have to always stop moving to switch weapon to then go move again. So there'd always be that stop start every time.
Yeah,
and it's a little bit clunky. They probably could have thought of another way somehow.
See, I thought that you'd use the D-pad.
Yeah, that was
because the D-pad's used for the visors.
The visor.
You don't use the visors half as much as as much as the thing. So I thought when I was playing it, why don't you put the weapons as the D-pad, and then when you want to go to the visor, just press like the L button.
But still, it would still have the issue for me of you have to take your thumb off the analog stick. I want to be able to move, switch, go.
But it's
move.
literally just you're running, quick flick down and carry on running. It's all in the one hand, so it's all quite, That's what I thought. Maybe
there might be a setting in the. I never actually checked the settings or anything. Sometimes you can invert the controls, can't you, and switch or whatever.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
That's my only gripe with the remaster version is that with the weapons.
Yeah. Because it looked lovely, to be fair. I mean, I don't think I can judge it too much because I played it on the handheld, and you don't. The clarity of the Switch,
on the handheld,
it still looks really good, but when the 2 or 3 times I managed to play it docked, it looked so much nicer on the telly, so much smoother, and I actually got to hear the music because I've had to play it with barely any sound for weeks now. Because it's just a case of
you need to get a pair of AirPods. That's what I've got now. I've got a pair of AirPods and just sync it to the Switch and just one AirPod in, and then that's it.
But I did make sure I was docked for when I finished the game. I had it docked, so I had it on the big telly when I finished. So from the Ridley fight to the end, I got to have it.
What do you think of Ridley like?
That was a really good boss fight. I was surprised how good the boss fight was.
I found that to be one of the hardest boss battles that I had ever done.
Really?
When on the GameCube, I really struggled with him. It took me a good dozen times.
I feel like once you get the plasma beam, you don't tend to use anything else. Unless you have to, because there were certain the yellow enemies, the red. But any enemy that you could use any weapon on, the plasma beam kind of just rinses through everyone.
Just rinses there.
And then you get the flamethrower as well to just waste your missiles basically. But Yeah, the really.
I mean, the
fight was really
pirates are
good.
really good for enemies as well. Like
Yeah.
there were a lot of enemies,
Good
a lot of
variety of
varied
them,
enemies. Yeah, I mean, there's all the different pirates. There's your normal grunts, your different colored ones, stealth ones. The stealth ones
I
are
tell
good.
you what, the Metroids were probably the most annoying enemies I've ever
Yes.
faced in a game. If any of
Yes.
those things sucked my head anymore,
Oh,
I
I
was close
know.
to flinging the switch a couple of times because, especially
I was literally, I would.
the last portion of the game where you
The
just
tunnel in the tunnels, the phasing tunnels, and they're not just normal Metroids. They're like the mutated ones
yeah
as well. That fire electric and shit.
yeah.
Yep.
So like I would
Yeah.
have
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
change guns to suit the Metroid so I could damage them.
Yes.
Ooh, I
I
was getting
literally
really
just,
frustrated.
I just went into mothball. Anytime a room that I went, I just went into mothball, let them come over and just hit them with the bomb,
Yeah.
and just kept doing that, just dropping bombs to
God, yeah, they're annoying.
I mean, even the animals on the planet, like the actual native animals that attack you, like they're all varied and they're all bloody good. And there was never any. I don't think there's any sort of like enemies that I thought, oh fuck, you know what I mean? I can't be bothered with them.
Just
They
the
all
Metroids.
pose. They all. Yeah, they all put. Well, yeah, they all pose like a different sort of threat, and you needed a different strategy for each of them.
Yeah.
Especially when you first come across them to fight them when you're underpowered. The battle's a lot harder then, but when you come back later on, when you've got everything, like, and they end up being like,
Yeah.
you're going to kill them in 2 shots. It's quite satisfying,
Yeah,
knowing
it's
that you've struggled
satisfying.
earlier on to get them.
But I couldn't help but feel like I did just rush through a lot of rooms towards the end because you knew, oh, I know these enemies are here. You know, the little bitches at this point. So it's
Yeah.
just I'm just sort of,
Yeah.
bashing through. Whereas when you're making your way through those areas for the first time, like the snowy, I can't remember what the snowy world's called.
Oh, the tundra place, yeah.
Yeah. I loved being there the first time, and then you're coming across these enemies the first time, and you're quite underpowered.
Yeah.
And it felt more like a video game where I was, there were threats in front of me, but then when you're 80-90% through the game and you're just when I was getting the artifacts, it's like you do the clue, check the map, or I think it's pointing me towards here. So then you just sort of just breezing through and ignoring enemies, and not that that's a gripe. That's just my thing of just like I don't want to be just pouncing through and ignoring things, but it's just what I needed to do to get the artifacts and stuff.
But in certain rooms, once you've done them and you come back and some of the story is that you get newer enemies in older rooms as well that keep you on that do keep you on your toes.
Yeah, that was good. The I don't know what they're called. They're like ghosty phantom ones. They're like spectre bloody. They're annoying.
Yeah,
they were really
the
annoying.
Stealth ones.
Yeah, you have to go into your X-ray visor to see them and hit them and lock onto them and stuff.
Yeah.
God, they were annoying.
I think they are the most annoying in the game.
Probably, yeah.
Music
was
so
cool,
than the Metroids.
The music was quite cool
good.
for them.
I loved the music throughout the whole of this fucking
Yeah,
game,
from what I heard, the music is really good.
The intro is amazing. I think the intro to Prime is probably the best intro of any Metroid game. I think it's phenomenal.
Yeah, I was actually looking the day or two after I finished it. I was looking for a potentially not legal download of the soundtrack because I just wanted it on my phone so I could because it's not on Spotify.
Yeah.
And I did just want to listen to it because I know if I heard certain songs it would take me back to playing the game from just you just hear the little thing in the background. Some of the worlds did have like just nice to listen to sort of music in the background.
Yeah, I mean some of them are just like ambient background, sort of like low, sort of like there's the song in the background, but it doesn't really impact. Whereas like say in the when you go down into the caverns underground, the lava bits, and you've got like it's like it's quite a lot
cool
sort
music,
of like yeah. And the boss battles music is fucking really good as well.
Yeah, well, the only one I can remember is the Meta Ridley one because
That's fucking.
it's probably the best. It's probably the best one. But
Yeah.
I used it for the when we talked about the best soundtracks as well, didn't I? Because that's the one you pointed out to me.
Yeah, it is such a good fucking.
It's a cool tune. Yeah, it suited that fight as well. I know it's the Ridley song from the old school game, but
yeah.
Just beefing it up a little bit.
But to me, it's always like, when you see him on the horizon and he's flying through the sky, cool, and it's like den, and he just it just works so well.
Smart, yeah. You knew you were in for a big battle then.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah, it was really cool.
What about the bosses? What do you remember about the bosses? Like, the levels themselves are fairly, yeah. I mean, but the level all the same way. You work your way through. And you go from room to room. And
it's always quite obvious when you're coming up to the boss arena as well, because like you'd have just check the map and it'd be like a little room, bit of a corridor, and then a big coliseum,
open wide space.
What am I going to come across in this room? One of the ones I really enjoyed, and I think it was because it was just at that perfect point of the game where you're really starting to explore and you're beefing up a little bit. I just don't remember what the boss is called because I don't remember any of them. But the one that's like the big plant. Yeah.
The plant one's really good.
It's not long after you get the morph ball, I think, because that's a big part of the thing.
That's part to do with,
But I really enjoyed that boss because it's easy to grasp what you need to do. It's then just doing it like your first time. Just do it. You know you have to turn into a morph ball. And then damage him to a point. He opens up his little holy bits, and you go into the little hole, you blow him up, and then you do that rinse and repeat like 4 or 5 times.
And you have to shoot the solar panels as well.
The solar panels, yeah.
Yeah, to stop him from regrowing.
It does keep you on your toes, and I really enjoyed that one.
And they're all varied though. Every boss is different. You've got to do a different thing, and it is tied to the most recent item you've got, which is the same for every Metroid game, but like for some reason in Prime it just seems to work a whole lot better.
You'll have to reel them off. I can't remember them.
Oh, Christ. Mate, I've not played this for over a year now. Come on.
Yeah, but you're the Metroid boy.
Yeah, I know.
You're my go-to Metroid guy.
Oh God, I'm gonna have to go through. I can't be asked to go through the whole story.
To Googs.
Yeah, go on Googs it.
Metroid Prime.
Bosses.
Because we already mentioned the Parasite Queen, as she called in the tutorial.
Yeah.
Pretty basic boss, nothing special, but does the job for that sequence.
Yeah, it teaches you the whole thing, isn't it?
Yeah. Is there another thing there? Okay.
Here we go.
Where are we?
This is good. Parasite Queen. The hive mecha. That's the.
Is that the
that's where the. No, the hive mecha is like the bees. Remember, it was you're in a water-filled room and you've got the bees and you've got to destroy the wee little robot thing that comes from the roof and the bees are protecting it. That's all right. It's not too bad.
Okay. I don't really remember.
You've got the
Flagra is the one I like. Flagra.
Which one?
Flagra.
There's the incinerator drone, which was the. It was like it's in the caverns and it's like the fire that spins around and it looks like a fucking crappy Star Wars villain. It's just like a little robot-y thing in the middle and it spins fire around.
Oh God, I don't remember.
You remember that one? that one's fine because you have to set fire to the hive that's above it.
Right.
To kill
God, no, I remember that now. Yeah. It's quite early. It's quite early on now.
Yeah, and you got Flagra.
I like Flagra.
Flagra is good. Sheegoth, the big ice monster, and then once you defeat them, you've got the mini ones that are all over the place.
God, I don't remember.
Do you remember that one?
No. Thardus. Which one's Thardus?
Thardus is the rock guy that you need to use the X-ray or thermal. You need to use the thermal.
Oh yeah, he was alright.
You find his weak point. He's really good.
Made use of the thermal.
Yeah. Which I always use the thermal. I always really enjoyed using the thermal one
I
a
didn't
lot.
really use the thermal one very much.
Do you know? No, I
I
just love
thought,
going through it and just seeing like all the thermal sort of,
yeah.
all the warm
So
bad guys.
I
And
was
that.
like that with the X-ray one. I really enjoyed the X-ray. I
See,
thought
I hated the
it looked
X-ray
so
one.
smart and
It
with the
looked
X-ray.
smart, and you can
Yeah.
see when you see that she puts a hand in, you can see like the skeleton of a hand,
Yeah.
like and that. But like, I actually hated using the X-ray one because you
Did
kind
you?
of see far in front of you, like.
It's better than Super Metroid's X-ray.
Oh wait,
Is that
so
what it is?
the.
Yeah, God, I hated it. I hated
I
it.
know.
I know when I played Super Metroid, I barely used that. Only when I needed
Yeah,
to.
I know. Yeah. You've got the Phazon Elite, which is like the big giant sort of like space pirate. That's
Oh,
got
yeah. I had a hard
yeah.
time with him.
He was
Cause
hard. I
yeah,
had a hard
because
time when I
that's when you
played him
get
on
the
the
phase on
GameCube.
suit, isn't the black
Yeah,
suit?
yeah.
Oh, I had a hard time with him.
And then you've got the Omega Pirates, which is the big bad bugger.
Yeah, yeah. He
Um,
might have been the one I had a hard time with.
yeah, and then Meta Ridley,
Yeah,
which you talked
I was
about.
all right
And
with
then
Matt
the
Ridley.
yeah,
I was
and then the
all right with
Metroid
Ridley,
Prime
wasn't
itself.
Yeah, yeah.
Which
Two phases.
yes,
But the first phase was all right. It was easy ish. It's just a case of switch to the right weapon and morph into
you
a
just
ball when he charges
morph into
for
the
you.
ball, yeah, go underneath him. See, I really when on the GameCube when I played it the first time, I really struggled. I really struggled with
I
him.
struggled. I didn't die to him, but I struggled early on because I couldn't figure out why he kept hitting me, and I was trying to avoid him. It was only later on I realised that there was the little trenches that the morph ball fit into, and then it became quite trivial then.
Yeah. See, I didn't realize that. I was just trying to run around the arena and like you would with any other one. Do you know what I mean?
And then you get the
And then you get the actual big Phazon battle where you can jump in the puddles of Phazon and
that's it. That took me a while to figure out because like I was bashing him with every weapon. I'd noticed at one point I'd like dinged his health down a little bit, so I was like, I've done something right. I've got to check all the weapons again. Do I use the flamethrower, and then do I use the wave beams missile thing, and like nothing else was working, and then I kept scanning him. Then 'cause scanning him obviously gives you a bit of info, a bit of tips, and then it makes note of some way of you have to be covered in Phazon or something. And I noticed he was splooging out some little puddles. And then once you do that, it becomes really easy then because it's like you end up with like a minigun cannon when you stood in it, and it's just and it proper knocks him back all the time. So once I figured it out, it was easy.
I wasn't entirely impressed that it was like some sort of like giant,
just a big
insecty. Yeah, it's just like a giant insect thing, as it wasn't it when you first started, and I was just like, eh. And then you get to the Phazon bit, and I'm like, this is a bit better, but I've always felt that could have been something better.
It could have. It's still
like an actual fucking giant Metroid, like a Metroid. Well, not the Metroid Queen, but like a giant Metroid. Do you know what I mean? Something along those lines. You know?
Yeah. Well, the thing
because all the guys that you're building up to it, like coming to like your fucking Omega Pirate, your Phazon Pirates, they're all getting bigger and bigger, and then Metal Ridley's bigger, and then all of a sudden you've got like a big bug head, and I'm just like, it should have really been like another space pirate or something, just just something else. Not a bug.
It got to a point when, because obviously you scan for the lore, and you get like things for your log, whatever. It got to a point after about a quarter of the game that I wasn't reading them anymore. It was just I scanned for the sake of scanning.
I've never read them. I just literally scan them, so I've got it on the. So I can try and complete 100%.
But like, would there have been stuff in that lore that explained Metroid Prime itself a bit more? Because like
probably
once you kill Ridley and then you teleport to wherever this place is,
the mines.
It was just kind of like you'd go through a few rooms, avoid the fucking Metroids because they're really annoying, and then you just sort of just end up in a room and Metroid Prime is there, and it's like there was no real build up, there was no. I wasn't expecting like the final boss to just be called Metroid Prime. I don't see why not, because it's a game full of Metroids, and like, you know, it's quite like a good name for a boss. But like, it was just the fact that it was no build up, in a room, boom, there's Metroid Prime fighting. And it wasn't, like you say, it wasn't the most impressive spectacle. It was just dank, gloomy mines, big bug thing that changes color depending on what gun you're supposed to use against the you know, video game logic.
Like, see, with the Meta Ridley, you're outside and it's like all quite, you know, cinematic and theatrical, and whereas this is just like, you know, I see you just dumped in a cabin on you, and then all of a sudden you've got you fucking getting bum rushed by a guy trying to eat you.
I quite like that as you pound him to a point and then he buggers off. And then I love how you keep descending and descending and descending and descending. That was good.
I'd wish they'd done something to me. He takes you to the center of the planet or something.
Yeah, there wasn't anything that indicated that was there.
No, you were just going down and down and down, and it would have been better if there was something like, you know, you're in the core of the planet.
Yeah.
And it's like his nest or something, and then that's where the pools of phase on are, you know, because you're in the core and that sort of thing. That would have been better. It was slightly anticlimactic.
Yeah, and there was no escape at the end either, was there? I don't think.
No.
You do a bit of a rush to the Ridley fight, which was all right. But I think because they did that, they didn't want to do like I felt like it needed that Halo escape sequence at the end.
Yes.
And I know
that would have been good fun.
I know it would have just been copy and paste from Super Metroid as well, like the start was.
Yeah, but
that's Metroid.
Kind of what makes Metroid. Yeah. You've just defeated the guy. The planet's fucking going to shit.
Yeah.
Get off the fucking planet, you know. Yeah, even if you just had like some bits where you had to use your bloody grappling arm, you know what I mean? Like running, just like grappling between fucking falling rocks and pulling yourself forward or whatever, just, you know, you're trying to escape.
I felt like the grapple hook was really underutilized as well.
Yes, yeah, it's one of the last things you get, and you don't really.
Just for a couple of puzzle bits that, you know, obviously for progression and that, some things for, you know, missile expansion and stuff like that, but
for actually traversing the planet, that wasn't that.
And it is that was one of the clunky things as well. The actual use of, like, when you're playing. See, I couldn't get a hang of it on the GameCube. On the Switch, it was like I found I could actually easily swing with where I wanted to go. Yeah.
But on the GameCube, I really fucking struggled with that.
I feel like I don't know if it's because I played Spider-Man or Spider-Man 2 or whatever. I feel like when you want a grapple hook, you look at it and it should be bang, and then you go in. But it was you look.
You've got to throw it first,
And then the swing's not great, and then I feel like you should be able to get a bit more momentum when you jump off. So there was quite a few occurrences where I'd missed the jump and stuff, and I'd have to start again, and then traverse, and you try again, and then you miss, and you go. There was a lot of that, because it's quite a vertical game as well. There's a lot of well, it's platformy, isn't it?
It's a platform. It's a platforming section. Which is hard in the first-person game. But
but it plays well. It does.
It did really well. Yeah,
They made it work for a first-person.
I see game. When you get the double jump, like that was it. Once you got the double jump,
that was the game changer. Yeah. Once you've got the double jump and you've gone through a couple rooms, it's hard to remember what it was like without the double jump, because you just do it all the time. It's just natural bump.
But the problem is with Metroid is that if they gave you the double jump and the grappling hook straight away, you broke the game. You know what I mean? You
need to.
So that's why they've got to have it a little bit like double jump for the middle of the game and then the grappling at the end of the game. I totally understand why, but it just
Right, so I'm probably gonna break your heart a little bit now.
Oh God, here we go.
But no, just for the sake of the video, because we are basically reviewing it. It is probably my least favourite Metroid game that I've played. Yeah.
Oh, I thought that would be one of your favourites.
I think Metroid just works so much better as a side-scrolling platformer. And I think I just love them. I just love them more.
No, Metroid does work.
But maybe it is because I was so late to the party You know, I didn't have the GameCube one. I didn't play it on the GameCube. And, you know, Super Metroid is one of my favorite games now.
I will also caveat that, though, with the fact that this was a first-person shooter on a GameCube, which wasn't a console that was designed for first-person shooting games.
No, that's not a knock on it, because like I've not played.
No.
I've not played all Metroid games. You know, I've played the ones that are considered probably the strongest.
In
the series are the only ones I've played.
That's what I'll not let you get anymore. You'll be fine with them.
I know. Well, and I want to play more. That's you know, like off the top of my head, Super Metroid is the best one. I think comfortably for me. I'd probably put Dread second because I really enjoyed Dread.
Dread is good.
I would put Fusion third. Think I'm quite close to finishing it. But I know it got a lot of grief, Fusion, because it's very handholdy, very linear for a Metroid game. It always tells you where to go.
Yes,
but I quite like that. You know.
It's different. It's different for a Metroid game. It's like a mission-based thing. It's like you go here, go here, go here.
Yeah,
and
I think it's quite nice to have a game where it does that. But in my current situation where I don't always get time to play the games, it's nice knowing where I've got to go and I can just go there. Whereas with your Super Metroid and your Metroid Prime, sometimes there's moments of, where do I go? I'm just going to go for a wander and see if I maybe find something. But yeah, then I'd probably put Prime. I think they're the only ones I've played. But it's still, I still really enjoyed it, and it's probably as good a 2D to 3D transformation in a game that we've probably had, apart from Mario, maybe. Mario's probably made the best transition, and that's coming from me.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I would agree with you. It's definitely one
potential
of the
top
best.
10.
Oh, top 10 from 2D to 3D.
We might be able to name 3.
That'll be a short episode. It definitely is probably one of the best. Transitions from 2D to 3D.
They made it work.
Yeah, my thing with Prime is that it was made a first-person shooter on an adventure platforming game, which shouldn't have worked. They've made it work.
Yep.
And the control pad they were given with, as much as it's a GameCube, I think GameCube is one of the best control pads ever, didn't have the functionality that it should have had, like we've got now.
Yeah.
So I think, and this is me pegging this high, Metroid Prime 4 that's been delayed and having to be restarted all over again. Like, I think the expectation for that is like
sky high,
way above, because now you've had, Halo and all your sort of adventure things. That's generally Halo and Metroid are kind of the two that are kind of like put together sort of thing in terms of the first person, because it's set in the future. Do you know what I mean? It's in space in the future, so you're always going to compare the kind of two. I always compare the two. So, they've got this expectation of this Metro game now that's going to try and outdo Halo in terms of the theatrical and the spectacle.
Yeah.
And now with these updated controllers, there isn't a reason why they can't. So, I think Prime, the three Prime games are amazing in what they did with the time that they were brought out, with the controllers that they were brought out with. But I think 4 is where Prime should really find its stride.
Hopefully,
and potentially be the best sort of like first person shooter experience that you're gonna get.
Well, that's what they've got to aim for, isn't it?
I mean, like Halo Infinite is an open, first person shooter exploration game now.
I hope they don't. I hope they don't make Prime 4 open world.
No, I know. I know. But I'm saying that's the same sort of. they gave Master Chief the bloody grappling hook thing, which is exactly the same as his fucking Sam. So I mean, it can be done. You just want to make sure that they do the game right, and potentially learn from.
Infinite, Halo Infinite was a very good game, but it wasn't without quite a few flaws for me.
Yes.
Like,
yeah.
I just Halo's one of those things. It doesn't need to be open world. It's nice.
Never
it's
did.
nice that it is. But like, if you're gonna do it, then flesh it out properly.
Yeah, I mean they've experimented. That's the thing. They've tried it.
It pretty
didn't
bum.
work.
The open world, open worldness of Infinite was bum.
Yeah, it was fairly empty. A lot. I know. But I'm just saying, like, that if Nintendo take the cues from Halo Infinite, then they could possibly make the best Metroid game.
They could.
They could. It's whether they do or not.
I think especially because of moments in Super Metroid, a couple of bits in Prime, but especially Fusion. I love when they go dark. I think Metroid works when it's dark and quite creepy. And like I put the GIF up yesterday when I was promoting this on the Twitter. The moment where you first see SAX in Fusion, and it zooms in on her face and she's got the dead white eyes.
Just the blank eyes.
It's frightening. It's proper scary.
It is.
And I think Fusion itself is considered a horror game. It is like, you are isolated on this thing with this killing machine on there. You don't see that often, but you know when
it's hunting you.
When it turns up, it's oh shit, it's here. Kind of Nemesis, Resident Evil vibes.
Yeah.
Not that I want them to, although I did mention to you, I think a remake of Fusion on Switch or something would be pretty awesome.
Yeah.
I would love for Prime 4 to be like a bit of a give it that, because there's a good isolated feel in Prime. It is all on you. It's all on Samus to win the game.
Yeah.
But I would love for him to sort of double down a little bit on creepiness, scary, space pirates and creatures and whenever they do dark or creepy stuff in Metroid, it's always really good. Fusion especially, I think Fusion is such a good example of them sticking in a bit more scariness, spookiness into Metroid. So I would love if they did that more so than just following the trend of everyone wants open world, let's do an open world game now, that's what the world wants. Loads of side missions and do this and escort missions and
the Metroid doesn't work with side missions. The Metroid is like literally you're exploring.
Yeah.
You're in caverns, you're in small secluded areas, you want to be exploring. That's what works with Metroid. But having this like somewhat similar, having like not necessarily the SAX or the Dread machines, but be something after you. I was thinking like the Halo, is it Guardians, the 5 one where you've got the other guy that's trying to, and he's got a team that fight.
The other fire team. After you. Yeah.
And I've played it. I think I've done it twice, and I don't remember the story at all in that anymore. But you don't have a battle with him. You don't have a battle with him, do you? They're just following you. They're not chasing you. They're not. There's not that sort of dread.
The whole build up to Guardians was how like Mr. Chief is going to die by the hands of Spartan Locke or whatever he's called.
Yeah.
And that was the whole campaign. Was Mr. Chief against Spartan Locke. And then I don't think they ever actually confront each other. There's no fight, and then I think they become best buds within like halfway through the game. And it just wasn't great. It was, it was a good controlling game, but it was.
If 4 had something like that there was, another like someone's put bounty hunters on you, and you've got other bounty hunters chasing after you. Because I played the Jedi Fallen Order, and there's bounty hunters in that, and they can turn up at any time.
That gives you quite an exhilarating part.
Yeah, but that's it. Yeah, because I've just finished a boss, and my health's low, and then all of a sudden I've got a fucking bounty hunter that's just popped up out of nowhere, as I've exited the place because they've been following me.
Yeah,
something along that lines would probably work for 4. Yeah, that would be really good. It'd be really good.
I think when it has been announced, hasn't it? It's just that you're not getting.
It was announced and it was in development for like a year and a half, and then the guy was like, "I'm really not happy with it, so I'm scrapping the whole thing and we're starting again."
Well,
that was the last announcement for it, and I was like, "That's a kick in the teeth."
Yeah,
like.
but I think
at least they've taken the thing and said, "We don't like how the game is progressing.
Yeah.
We're going to start again." That's ballsy of a developer to say that. So,
and I think it's promising that they did release Prime Remastered, but maybe they released Prime Remastered because of the troubles they've been having. It's like, get something out to just to appease the fans a little bit for now. And if so,
and do you know what? I'd be quite happy. I'd be quite happy if they did 2 and 3.
It would be cool
if they remastered 2 and 3 on the Switch. I'd be quite happy with that.
It's a shame they didn't, hold off on releasing Remastered 1 immediately, because they'd already released the trilogy, didn't they, for the Wii?
Yes, but that was also tied in with the remote, wasn't it? That you had to throw your left arm for the grappling hook and pull doors, and whilst you're aiming with the right.
You still do it with the Switch?
Yeah, I know there are actually Switch controls. There are Switch controls. There is. With the nunchucks, yeah.
But it would have been cool, basically, if they'd have just remastered the 3. Like if they're having a lot of issues with Prime 4, maybe just sort of like keep it on the back burner for a little bit. Get a trilogy remaster out. Keep the fans happy for a couple of years. Make 4. I hope they re-release 2 and 3, because I've not played them. I would like to play them.
Oh, see, I got so lost in 2. I remember getting I probably spent about 30 hours on 2, and then I was just totally lost on where I was, and where I needed to go. So I mean, I would love to play through that again, and then I've never actually played 3. I remember starting it on the Wii.
Is it Other M? Is that 3?
No, that's a separate one altogether, and that's the worst fucking game we've ever played. Or made by Team Ninja. Is it Team Ninja? I think it's Team Ninja.
Right, okay.
And you're thinking like, the Team Ninja are like the bloody Ninja Gaiden guys, like they're fucking really good games, and they've absolutely fucking ballsed up.
I was going to say, does that Ninja Gaiden suit Metroid?
It would really work, but the problem is that you would have to change the way that you hold the Wii remote.
Okay.
Randomly, so like on one part you'd have to turn it sideways. And then all of a sudden you have to put it that way with the nunchuck, and it was just over the thing. Yeah, it was horrible, horrible.
But anyway, down the line, if there's a bit of like Prime 4 promising news, like release date, trailer, something's coming, we can do a bumcast or something, and we can discuss it.
Yes.
Discuss like what we'd like to see in Prime 4.
Well, I think there's a Microsoft one coming on the 18th, isn't there?
Is there?
Developer thing, so we could do that as well. Bumcast.
Yeah, I want to do like reactions and stuff, things like that now.
Yeah, oh my god, reaction! We do the thumbnails like this.
Prime 4, Prime 5.
Manage drink.
Right, it's that time.
Go on then. You've actually put it on the screen. That's so cool.
It's on the screen. It saves me a bit of
I know,
work.
editing. That's it. Yeah.
So I can just let us chat through and not interrupt it with anything. But yeah, we have leading the way still the undisputed champ so far of the Super Leaderboard.
I don't think anything will knock it off.
I don't know. I kind of hope so, because I think that would be an awesome moment. But
I mean, I've only got like 2 games that I will ever potentially put that high.
Really? Well, I think all mine. Yeah. Doom would have been one of my killers, probably.
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah, maybe I don't. Resident Evil is my favorite game of all time, so.
That's supposed to be the one. Yeah.
Shame.
Right.
Yeah, so that leads the way, 950,000, and then down to number 10. Duke Nukem 3D, the last episode that we talked about, the last episode of 2023, at 800,000, sharing it with WWF No Mercy, which is still technically there, but there's no room for it. So
You did say you wanted to rather put Duke on top of No Mercy.
yeah,
Just 'cause it is Duke.
it's Duke, and it's the fresher game. It's the one we talked about most
Yeah.
recent.
Yeah.
So Nicholas,
Okay.
what are you giving
Mhm.
Metroid Prime?
Are we scoring it? I mean, obviously, we're gonna have to score it from the Switch point of view and not the GameCube point of view.
I have to give it from the Switch point, but I
Right, that's
honestly don't
fine.
feel like, apart from the control scheme,
Apart from, yeah, as I
and
say,
it looks
apart from the
prettier.
controls and the weapons and the choosing
Yeah,
of the weapons,
but
there's not a lot of
the
difference
game
between the two.
itself, the core game, is still the same.
It's
isn't
still
it?
good.
So,
Yeah.
obviously, I'm
yeah.
going to give it the Switch score. I think you
Okay.
probably will as well, because it's more fresh in your mind, isn't it? But
Well, yeah.
I don't imagine it'll be a
and
much different score.
No. If anything, it's gonna be like 0.2 or whatever difference. You know what I mean? I am going. Oh my god. 800.
It's going to require maths, isn't it?
No, 850.
Okay, I like that, because I'm going 850,000 as well.
Right, that's fine.
It's an easy 8.5.
Nice,
for me.
Yeah.
Just, not quite a 9, just because of the little things like the weapon changing. My gripe with when I've got all the weapons, don't make me change weapon all the time to shoot certain doors. Just let me open them all, because I've got access to them all now. It's got that 2002 feel about it. You can tell when you play it, it's not a modern day game.
No.
Which just holds it back a little bit these days in comparison with more fluid controlling games, So I have to knock it down a little bit. But like the world as a whole is amazing.
Yeah.
It's still a fun game to control, modern day controls that bumps up the Switch score a little bit, because it does. You can play it like a normal video game now.
Yep.
The bosses are really good. The music's amazing.
Yep.
Bit of a meh ending, but there's 3 endings to the game, isn't there? Apparently, I think I got the dud ending. I think I got the dud.
If I'm honest.
From what I think the fella I watched with the fat facts, I think he says,
Is it to do with the percentage and also the time?
I think so. It's probably more percentage. I think. You can get the bum ending, the one that's considered the bum ending, which I got.
I think everyone gets the bum ending.
Yeah, where you watch the world destroy, and then you just see Samus take a helmet off from a distance, and then it fades to black.
Yep.
You then get ending 2, where you see the world destroy, Samus takes her helmet off, and then you get to see a close-up of her from the front.
Yeah.
And then I think the 100% ending, you see like a black arm popping out of like phase on goo or something, which is like a teaser for Dark Samus in Prime 2.
Yes.
But yeah, I think you've got 100% of the game for that.
Yeah.
But again, 3 endings to the game.
Yeah, true. Yeah. I do think Prime 1's probably the best out of the 2 and 3, I think. I think Prime is the better game out of all 3 of them.
Yeah.
So I mean, if you are going to play it, this is the one to play. This is the one to invest. Your 50 quid in.
Oh yeah.
In fact, it wasn't 50 quid. It's about 40, wasn't it?
It wasn't even. Yeah. I think I got it. I think I paid 25, 30 quid for it. That's why I did it. It was like I saw it and I thought, I'm just going to do it because I really want to play it.
Yeah, for that,
you get it a little bit cheaper. You're gonna get it on the Nintendo. If it's a little bit cheaper, just bloody get it, because it never goes down much.
Nintendo tax.
Yeah, Nintendo tax.
But it's definitely worth playing. So yeah,
it's 100% worth paying. 850,000 is our score. It puts it equal 8th with Streets of Rage 2, which is impressive.
Yeah.
And just below Super Metroid.
There you go. Have a good time with both. That's it.
But I think it is rightfully just below Super. Personally.
Yeah.
I think Super is the better video game I just
overall, yeah.
Yeah, I think it's just 2D Super Metroid is the way it should be played, personally, for me. But I do think the transition into 3D was really good. I did really enjoy it. And I have no doubts that down the line, couple years' time, I will want to play it again.
Yeah.
I want to give it another bash when it's a bit, when it's sort of foggy in my mind.
And that's the thing with the modern controllers now. It's a lot easier to play as well.
Yeah, exactly. And
So,
it will now
pick up and
be
play.
almost, like it'll be timeless now, because it's still that classic game that everyone likes, but it's easier to pick up and play, especially conveniency of the Switch by then, Switch 2 or whatever, and hopefully backwards compatibility and all that will be fine. But yeah, Metroid Prime, equal 8th in the slag, so it makes its way onto the our screen underneath us. It's there somewhere. Just I'll have to actually edit it to show up on the episode now. Turns out I only don't have to edit if it doesn't. If the game we're talking about doesn't make the top 10, then there's no editing required.
Right. Okay. So we're gonna have to talk about really crap games now for the next 6 weeks or whatever.
Next week, Bubsy 3D.
Oh, fuck.
I've never actually played it, but I'm quite. I want to play some
1 million.
I want to play some bum games.
I think we'll play some bum games.
Since we mentioned nothing's gonna top Resident Evil remake, because like you say, it probably won't. 950,000 from the pair of us is a good score.
Yeah, but that's such a good game though.
I want competition for Golden Axe. Can something dethrone the ultimate?
Yeah, there's plenty. There is plenty.
You think there's
of
worse
games
than Golden
that
Axe?
could dethrone all Golden Axe. Yeah.
I don't know. Closest competition was Total Carnage, and I actually enjoyed that a little bit.
Total Carnage is good though.
Yeah, but I think
I'll buy that for $1.
we had to be reasonable and say it's a gammy game, but
it is 100%. It's so fun.
We couldn't help but enjoy it for what it was.
I know.
So yeah, we'll give it some thought then. We'll give it some thought. But next week, List Me Baby returns for 2024. And we're going to discuss
our favorite franchises.
Our favorite video game franchises.
Yeah.
I think my list is pretty solidified, really. There might be a couple of movers, but
I might have another look and see. But the way I've done my list is have I bought every game in that series?
That's the way I've tried to.
Yeah. And I'm not going to lie, there's not that many franchises that I have bought every game in the series. Yeah. And if I have bought every game in a series that isn't on this list, it's not that I don't particularly like it. I just don't particularly like certain parts of it.
Okay.
For example, Super Mario.
Yeah, well...
But that's for another discussion. That's for the next week.
Yeah, because I've obviously got Sonic on my favourite franchise.
That's what we call a teaser in the business. That
you
know what I mean? Yeah.
Biggest teaser is Metroid in your top 10.
Yeah, that's a given, isn't it?
Is it?
Yeah, it's a given.
It may or may not be in mine.
Oh.
I'm still a bit, because again I've not played probably 8, 9, 10 Metroid games that have probably come out.
That's fair. That's fair.
But yeah, I'm looking forward to that one next week. I think that'll be a nice, easy discussion. It'll be a good laugh.
Yeah, I mean yours will be quite varied. Mine are all. Yeah, I'm pretty much. You could guess 6 of mine. Quite
Nintendo.
Oh my god! No. Yes. Yeah. Pretty much.
Hold on.
Pretty much Nintendo.
No Nintendo.
Oh my god.
Unless Metroid makes it, because I did this list before I finished Prime, and because I'm playing Fusion, and I'll hopefully finish Fusion by.
I love the fact that you've become a little Metroidite.
I love. I knew I'd love Metroid though because of the sci-fi-ness to it.
And I knew you'd love it. You just needed the little push.
I needed the push. I needed the consoles as well to play.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
But yeah, Metroid Prime was awesome. And it made it to the top 10. I'm so glad it did. So until next week.
Yep.
List Me Baby one more time next week. Best franchises.
Yeah.
Get following. Get subscribing.
See you later.
Do it now.
Lullaby.
Get to
Put
the
the gun down.
chopper. Do it now. Ta-ra.
Do it now. Bye.